I'm so thankful you've taken the time to be with us here today to hear about something that's not only important to me, but to many families around the state. First, I want to take a moment to tell you a little bit about our task forces in general and the Women's Task Force in particular. Welcome to Rashida Tlaib from Detroit. Okay. Earlier this year, the Michigan House Democrats conducted a listening tour around the state. We wanted to give people the opportunity to tell us what their priorities are and what changes are needed to see from our state government. During those talks, several themes emerged. People told us that they worried about the declining state and public education in Michigan. They are concerned about the state and our small businesses and the lack of jobs. They want to make sure that children and grandchildren know the same clean woods, pristine wetlands, and pure waters we've all come to love. They're concerned that members of the military aren't getting the benefits they've earned. And they told us that women are facing unfair hurdles in the workplace, in healthcare, access to healthcare, and when it comes to caring for their children and their older parents. We've formed task forces around each of these issues. These task forces are seeking out real solutions to real problems. Today, we're going to talk about the solutions that we've found for the challenges faced by women and their families. Our task force held town hall style meetings in Muskegon, Canton, and Battle Creek during the summer. At these meetings, people told us that women are still facing inequality in the workplace. Women are still not being paid the same wages that a man earns for doing the same job. We heard that women continue to face roadblocks when it comes to obtaining health care. The situation has been made worse by new laws passed by Republicans that threaten to force many women's health care centers out of business. And we were told that women still bear the brunt of arranging care for their children and aging parents. The cost of child and elder care can be prohibitive, leading many women to have to choose between staying home and caring for their families or continuing their career. These are problems facing women every day, but that doesn't make them everyday problems that can easily be ignored. These are concerns that affect the quality of life for women and their families across the state. We have some solutions that will make a real difference to women who wake up each morning facing these challenges. Here to talk a little bit about them is Representative Diane Slavens. Diane?
Thank you, Representative Hovey-Wright, and my colleagues who've joined us today, and all of you for joining us. I'm Representative Diane Slavens. I represent the 21st District, which is Canton, Belleville, Van Buren Township. We did have one of our task force meetings in Canton. Like Representative Hovey said, women in Michigan are facing a number of challenges that affect them disproportionately. That's the bad news. The good news is we've already introduced a number of bills that address the many problems. In other cases, we've developed new policy and ideas after talking with people around the state this summer. I'd like to go over a few of those solutions right now. When it comes to workplace equality, the Michigan House Democrats have already introduced proposals to require employers to pay men and women with equal training and abilities the same wages for doing the same job. I'm proud to say that one of my bills, House Bill 4517, would set up a commission on pay equity in our state. The other parts of the package would prohibit unequal pay for similar situated people doing the same job. It would create penalties for employers who break the law and would require employers to provide workers with information on pay rates when they ask for it. Representative Rashida Tlaib also is on our task force, and she's introduced a law prohibiting discrimination against mothers who nurse in public. We all know it's so important to nurse our babies. We also propose laws that would prohibit employer discrimination against workers for making reproductive health decisions. Together, these laws will make Michigan workplace more equitable. Now I'd like to hand it off to Representative Tlaib, who'd like to talk about a few things. Representative.
Thank you, Representative Slavens and my colleagues for joining us. Good morning to all of you. I'm so glad to be here today. As you know, I'm Representative Rashida Tlaib from Detroit. Equal opportunities and economic security for women are one of the most important issues and issues that I'm most passionate about because of my district. But when we talk about equality, that isn't limited to the workplace. Women face unique obstacles in obtaining health care, and unfortunately, those challenges have become more severe in recent years. For example, Republicans, as you all know, have passed several laws that put undue burden on women's health care centers. Rather than making it harder for women to get health care, we are fighting to make sure every woman in the state get access to health care that she needs. We have already introduced a package of bills that would make it easier for women to obtain preventive care. These include proposals directing the state to identify and address inequities in prevention, treatment, and research of diseases threatening our women. One, taking steps to reduce teen pregnancies, and to develop and disseminate information about emergency contraception. Another requires doctors to give women information on breast density and encourage those women to consult with their doctors about other screening options. Cancer is more likely to develop in dense tissue, but the density makes it difficult for standard mammograms to detect it. We are also calling for mental health parity, so important, so that people who suffer from depression, anxiety, and other mental health concerns receive the treatment they need to lead productive lives in Michigan. In our meetings around the state, we also heard that women are predominantly the members of the family tasked with child and elder care. As you know, I've been joined by my son, Adam, who's here. Adam, say hello. We also have already introduced proposals that would restore the $600 per child state income tax credit that Republic has eliminated. I hear so much from women, especially our single moms working in the field, about that credit. We have also introduced a bill to give tax credits to offset the high cost of child and dependent care. Representative Slavin's proposal also allows taxpayers to claim a credit associated with their child and dependent care costs that would make a real difference in the lives of middle-class families, allowing more money to be spent in the household in our local economy. We also propose legislation that will help seniors receive health and personal care at home rather than in other facilities. I know we have mentioned a lot of proposals here. As you know, us women, we're impatient, and we like to see results instantly. And we know that these are important issues, and we know we can do it here in Michigan if we really focus on it. These ideas are outlined in our report that we're handing out today. I encourage you all to give a report a read and find out some more information about these proposals. They will make life better for women and families in Michigan. Now I'd like to introduce our one of our fearless chair of our task force, Jeff Irwin, who will talk about the next steps. Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Tlaib, and thank you, colleagues. This has been an interesting journey over the summer, and as Representative Tlaib mentioned, there may be some impatience on the behalf of the fairer gender, but certainly there hasn't been enough progress over the many, many decades. We have a number of unique challenges that women in Michigan still face. We have to overcome them. We're talking about half of our population that, mind you, often find themselves in the role of being head of the family. And I don't mean head of the family like my wife is the head of my family. I mean single parents. I'm talking about single parents who are raising children. And for those of you who have kids like I do, you know that raising children is very, very difficult. Talking about raising a child as a single parent, that's a unique challenge. So we're talking about pay equity, we're talking about workplace equality and those types of ways, but we're also talking about how can we get some more help to these women that are raising the next generation of leaders in our state. So that's why we're talking about restoring the per-child tax credit that the Republicans eliminated, and making sure that women have access to health care and all these things. But all of the proposals are well covered in the report, and they were well covered by my other colleagues. I just want to talk a little bit about maybe the big picture, if I may be so bold. We all know that the Democrats are in the minority here in Lansing. And when we approached this summer, one of the things we realized was that despite all of the unique challenges that women face, despite how important getting it right for this population is for Michigan, our Republican colleagues have really done nothing to address these issues in the time I've been here. Certainly not in the last 8 months of this year, and certainly not in the first 2 years of my term. We didn't see any action on any of the issues we're talking about here to provide equality for women in Michigan. And in fact, we saw backsliding. We saw efforts to close clinics. We saw efforts to make it more difficult for women's health providers. And we saw attacks on women as head of families with tax policy that hurts struggling families, rolling back the earned income tax credit and other things that have been mentioned. So we face a partisan environment here in Lansing, and a partisan environment that has not been good to the women of this state. But as my colleagues and I got together to talk about what we were going to do this summer, how we were going to approach these issues, I think we decided to approach them in the way that we've approached them for the first 3 years I've been here, which is to try to work with our colleagues to make good bipartisan compromise proposals that could get through and save money for the state, save money for our families, and do better by the people here in our state. So I'll mention the Prevention First package. When we're looking at women's health issues, House Democrats came together and we made a number of proposals that are geared towards reducing unwanted pregnancies, something that you would hope that Democrats and Republicans could come together on, right? Now we're talking about another issue, expanding Medicaid waivers, giving families in Michigan more of an opportunity to make their own health care choices in old age. And as more and more of us are looking at having to care for our parents, and more Michiganders are finding themselves in that situation, and more women in Michigan are finding themselves in a situation where they have to care for an elderly parent, the state needs to give those families options to provide that care in the home, where it's going to be better. That's the choice that the senior would make, and it's going to save the state money. But for reasons that all of you intelligent reporters could find out very, very easily, our Republican colleagues want to keep Medicaid waivers capped. They want to keep those people going to nursing homes. And that's wrong. So we're proposing to save the state money, improve the quality of life, and give families in Michigan a leg up. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find proposals that might be able to strike that common ground, proposals that might be able to get our Republican colleagues to finally hold a hearing on issues that will move the state forward for women's equality in the workplace and in the home.